Alright, so we're back at the dump. I feel like I'm here all the time. Here's a clip from how much I paid. And this is how much I have in the box. We're just going to clean it out to get it cleaned out. But I pay that same amount whether this is full or not. And then I pay, I don't know, about the same for the trailer. And we got a little bit of stuff in there too, so yeah, that's what I paid for all this stuff. God, it stinks out here though. It smells like rotting green waste, not grass, leaves and stuff.
It's like a mix between some fine cooking and some ass.
Merely adopted the leaf cleanups. I was born into it, molded by it.
Okay, so we are on a property doing leaf cleanup. It is a very large property. Well, large for me because it's almost an acre, and a lot of trees, ton of trees. They have cleaned up some areas, but the front here has not been touched at all. So we're gonna blow it out. I talked to her about budgeting and where she wants to be with it, what her major concerns are. And we're going to try to keep it in a price range between 800 to 1,000. If we go a little over, we go a little over. If we're under, benefit for her. The plus side for her is that we have a new mower and we're going to use it on this property. I haven't changed my man-hour rate, so with the two of us, she's going to be billed $85 a man-hour. And like I said, the budgeted hours are somewhere between right around 11 hours. So somewhere of about 5 to 6 hours actually being on the property with two people. Now in the beds, anything that sticks up in the bushes and stuff like that, you know, where it's kind of hard to blow it out when it's clustered, say like right here, anything that sticks inside the bushes, she said don't worry about that too much. She normally has to dig that out by hand. We're gonna do what we can, but ultimately if that shaves off a little time and allows us to meet her budget, that's what I want to do for her. So sometimes they're extremely high pristine polish, and sometimes they're like, hey, my lawn is trashed out, can you get the leaves up for me? If this footage looks familiar to you, that's because I double dipped and I used it on the Positivity Challenge video that I was nominated by Jay's Crazy Cut. So, you know, let's go ahead and dive into this. This was the first job we did with the Ferris, besides dropping it on my neighbor's lawn and cleaning up leaves off of about, her front yard's right around 1,000 square foot, and it took us about 10 minutes. We were able to smack it out in about 10 minutes. That was leaves that hadn't been touched all year. Blew them out to the street, vacuumed them up, 10 minutes, boom. That's a scenario where I could not charge by the hour. I didn't charge my neighbor. Lucky for most of my neighbors, I like to play around on their yards, so she was pretty happy about that, and I was happy to get to use the mower. You know, I saved her probably all weekend, you know, hard work raking them up and putting them in bags, and we vacuumed them up 10 minutes like it was nothing. That's the you know, the advantage to having a professional take care of something. I try to keep that same mentality when I'm getting things done in my life as well. You know, when I need something done, I'm getting to where I can afford to send stuff to professionals now, and I don't want to do stuff like, man, if there's something that's not working at the house and I can fix it, I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but go ahead and call somebody, you know. And I'm having my wife take care of that stuff now. Because my time is in a lot of demand. You know, I mean, when I first started, it really wasn't in demand. My time wasn't as valuable, and what I mean is I just wasn't that busy. So I would find things to keep me busy so that I could, you know, I didn't have money to invest, so I had my time to invest. But I want to go ahead and try to keep on point with the job here. James is blowing all these out, and there's a little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like 8 trees in that one section. the amount of leaves he pulled out of that one little area, that was about as much as we normally pull off of the residential properties that we service in about a 2 hour period. Definitely a lot less surface area to cover. A lot less turf. Actually, all these leaves are on the lawn so long there's no turf left, but they still want them cleaned up. I'm not sure why. I would probably leave them at this point, and then you wouldn't have to even pay for lawn service next year. That's the wrong way of looking at it, but it's a lot of leaves. I would say there's probably 60 to 70 trees on this property. Most of them are in clusters of 3 or 4, and massive amount of leaves. Now my batteries did die on this property, and I didn't have any replacements, so I wasn't able to catch the whole property. But basically, what I'm showing is the area over by the truck, and then this front section we're working on. But there was also an area in the back, and then a fenced area in the backyard where there was a pool and some different obstacles as well. And we started with the front yard. The side yard, and behind this fenced area that you see here, that was $800. And I called her when we were completed, because that was the area she wanted us to focus on, was the area out towards the street and outside that fence. So I let her know it was $800 when we got to that point, and I said, we've got a couple more hours. We can go ahead and finish out the rest of this yard if you'd like, if it's in your budget. And told her the hourly rate, like I told her when we first started the project. That's how I bill. Several people ask me, hey, how do you bill? And I've said it a lot in my channel, but I bill by the hour when I'm messing with leaves, because it keeps me in a safe zone. This project, I don't mess with projects like this, and you don't really know what you're getting into. They might be wet one day and dry, when you say you went and estimated them, they were dry, and then all of a sudden you got a rain and it takes longer. Well, they still want their leaves cleaned up, and they want them at that price you quoted. So you might get stuck doing it for half the price because you thought it was going to take you a lot less time. And the other thing is, leaves are deceiving, so you just look at them and you think they're going to take less time, but they really take a lot. And as we're getting into this time of year, January, February, and even into March, what you're going to find out is the type of jobs you get this time of year are the people that waited all year long to get their leaves cleaned up. And it's just craziness. It might be layers and layers and layers of leaves that got wet and built up. At this point, right now, we're kind of shutting down on leaf removal. We won't be doing as much leaf removal. What you're going to see in the next few weeks is, we're kind of taking a week because the weather's bad. It's cold, rainy. We got a little bit of snow yesterday, but we're kind of taking a week, recharging, getting stuff done at the house that we need done while the weather's bad, and then we're going to jump right into taking care of mulch for my clients. And so you'll see some of the mulch jobs and stuff like that. That's how I lay out my season. That's just what I do so that I don't have much downtime. And then mulch is not priced by the hour, so every job you do is a little bit different. Now, the mulch is priced off a man-hour rate. That's how I formulated it. Everything you do is going to have a different way of billing it. But you want to try to get to where... Okay, one of my business mentors, Fred Likens, said if you can just focus on getting the right man-hour rate, then you'll be... you'll be in a solid position. You'll have room for growth. Well, I gotta say that's completely true. This time last year when I was doing leaf cleanups, sometimes I would bill them hourly. Sometimes I would fill out the client, and I was desperate and I needed to lock in the job, and I'd go, okay, I'll do it for $200 or whatever, and I'd give them a solid number, and then I'd be there for 4 hours. And I mean, you're still making $50 a man hour. You're doing okay. It really all depends. Everybody's business is different. I do okay at $50 a man hour, but we're not doing great. That's the other thing, is that online you hear all these different man hour rates and what you need to make, $60 an hour, this and that. You hear about big companies like Lawn Care Millionaire talks about his, and he talks theoretical numbers because he knows he doesn't want people to take the wrong number. He's a smart guy, but you'll hear big companies where they talk about being able to do stuff at like a $45 man hour rate and stuff like that, and that's it seems insane, right? Well, they're covering their overhead with more people. And then they're taking on certain jobs like these big commercial jobs. They might have to bid maintenance down to the bone, but then they do the enhancement side on the projects, and with those properties, and they'll make a lot of money on the enhancements because they got their foot in the door through maintenance. It's bid real low. I'm not saying the lowest bid wins, but it depends on the property manager. But that's kind of what they got to do. It's a different game than residential. Residential, you might be doing the same thing if you're in a small rural area and there's not a whole lot of money. You might be low bid wins, and then you might be in a scenario where I'm in a large metro area. There's such an abundance of work that I can demand a higher premium, and I just sell on the value that, hey, I'm going to be there every week. I'm going to take care of you. If you ever need me, I'm going to answer my phone. You can call me any time of the day. I am trying to get to a point where I'm not going to take your call when I get home. But, at the same time, like, that's kind of something that I allow my clients to do. And I just let them know, look, I'm going to take care of you. If you ever got a concern, you can contact me directly. I'm not high. I'm not drunk. I'm not going to be on your property high or drunk. Nothing against anybody that drinks or smokes, but just I don't function that way. I think I can offer the best service if I'm completely in control of my mind at all times. I don't want to be in a phone call with one of my customers, have them ask me to do something or take care of something or do something different for them, and then not be able to remember that conversation. So that's just throwing it out there. Now, there's a couple different types of clientele, and I know there's a few different types, to be honest, but let's just speak in general. There's the type that would take 3 bids and take the lowest bid, and then there's the type that would take the 3 bids and take the highest bid. The lowest bid is going on financial buying decision, and the highest bid is going off of a, are they going to take care of me type of mentality. I don't want to mess around with this. I don't have time to jack around with this. Let's get this done. And that's the type of client that I'm chasing now. And then in the beginning, it was more off of financial base, and that comes down to marketing and how do you target those type of people.